Alright guys, today we're going to talk about zero and negative exponents. The first thing you need to do is you need to understand what an exponent is. So let's go back a little bit further. If you had 2x and 5x, and we were trying to simplify this, well, these guys are like terms because they both have x's. 2x is the same thing as x, and 5x is the same thing as x, and x, and x, and x, and x. So altogether, we have 7 of them. Exponents are similar, but their number of counter goes in a different spot. I'll show you how they're similar, and we can talk about how they're different too. Okay. Notice on this problem, we are adding in between every single x. On this problem, we are multiplying. Okay? So I have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. This guy is called a base. You keep your base, and then you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you have 5 3s. So this 5 is telling you how many of the 3s you have. Well, if you look at our paper, we have some negative numbers, we have some zeros, lots and lots of different things, okay? Alright, so now we need to understand a little bit more. So if you use your calculator, let's see what 3 to the 0 is. 3 to the 0 power is 1. In fact, anything to the 0 power is 1. So like 10 to the 0 power is 1, and 1 million, whatever, that big number, to the 0 power is 1. Anything to the 0 power is always 1. And the way that you type that in your calculator, if you have a calculator that looks like this, is you'll type in 3 second, and then the x box, so you can put, oops, I'm just kidding, 3 second, oh, you don't have to second, 3 x box, so then you can put whatever number you want to as an exponent, and then type 0, and then that will give you your 1. Sorry, we've been working a lot with radicals, and I was slightly confused. Okay, so anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, and this has a lot of purposes. The main thing is it has to do with this being a multiplication. So exponents are multiplication problems. They're not addition problems. In order to keep multiplication problems the same and not change them, you have to multiply by 1. If you multiply by 0, this whole thing is changed. But if you multiply by 1, anything times 1 is itself. Okay. So there is number 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1, and it's just something you have to memorize, and if you can't memorize it, type it in your calculator. So look at number 4. Any number to the 0 power is 1. Okay? Number 13 is, or number 3 is slightly different because he's underneath our fraction, but we can change him. So we keep that 1 on the top. Anything to the 0 power is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1, so he ends up being the same. It just looks kind of different along the way. The same with number 2. I'm going to take off this, get rid of this 2 to the 0, because I know that anything to the 0 power is 1, and 1 divided by 1 is also 1. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all 1. These are 0 exponents. Okay, again, anything to the 0 power is 1. Can't forget that. Alright, let's look underneath here. Under this guy, we have negative exponents. Some of them. Okay, what that means is he needs to move spaces. Okay? So basically, this negative is an inverse. It means inverse or flip. So we can write every single number as a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. When I flip my fraction, I have to keep all of my numbers the same. Okay, so when I flip my fraction, this 1 goes on the top. When my 3 goes underneath, then this negative changes to be a 1 because it all flips. So it went from a -1 to a 1. And we can rewrite this as 1/3. We don't need that 1 as an exponent. So 3 to the -1 is the same thing as 1/3. If you think about it kind of like a house, like a 2-story house, here's your second story. So if the guy living upstairs has a negative attitude, then we suggest that he move downstairs. And when he moves to an opposite spot downstairs, his cute little negative attitude goes away and he becomes positive. Okay, number 6 is the exact same thing. Currently, this guy is unhappy upstairs. When he gets flipped or moved to an opposite spot, then he has an opposite sign and he becomes positive. So opposite spot, opposite sign. Now these guys are already downstairs, so if we move them up, they have an opposite sign. And you could put a 1 under it, or you could just leave it as 7 squared. The same thing with number 8. He's downstairs, so if we move him up opposite, then he ends up with a positive. Number 9, these guys are happy upstairs already. So if we move him opposite, we're going to make him angry. So he's going to have the opposite sign. The same thing with number 10. He is currently living upstairs. So if we move him opposite, he has the opposite sign. Okay, here's the thing. Notice that my +2 stayed as a +2. My +4 stays as a +4. My +7 stays as a +7. My +14 stays as a +14. Just because they move spots doesn't change the sign of the number. It changes the information about it, its attitude. Okay, opposite sign for the exponent. Exponent only. Okay, let's do a few more together. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to write both the positive and negative version of this answer. And then if you wanted to, you could actually figure out what this number was. So right now we already have the negative version of this answer, so we're going to rewrite it as the positive version. So since he's downstairs, when I move him oppositely, then he needs to be opposite sign, so +2. Then we could do that on our calculator and figure out what our actual answer is. So it's 21, x with the box, and then a 2. And that is equal to 441. On number 6, he's living upstairs right now, so if we move him opposite down, then he has an opposite attitude. We can type that in our calculator. I like the fractiony boxy button. 1/10 to the 3rd. 1/1, 2, 3. Number 8, remember anything to the 0 power is always 1. So it's 1/1, which is 1. Number 10, he's upstairs with that negative attitude. If we move him opposite, then he now has an opposite sign. And we can figure out what he is. So, fraction button, 1/5/6. And now we get, oh, we want to keep it as a fraction. It doesn't want to. Here, I'll show you a shortcut. All you really have to do is put the bottom in your calculator. So 5 to the 6th is 15625, and that's underneath 1. The 1 stays on top. It doesn't change. Let's see. I guess we could keep going, do a few more together. 18. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Number 14. Anything to the 0 power is 1. He is living downstairs. If we move him to an opposite spot, he has an opposite sign, which is the same thing as 7/4. And 7 to the 4th power is 2401. Alright, let your teacher know if you're having any questions. I hope that you understand the difference between 0 exponents and negative exponents. Remember to move your negative exponents up and down to change the negative to positives. Oh, and never forget, anything to the 0 power is 1. Have a great day.